Good morning and welcome back to Hammond's Upholstery. Here's a rarity. I've managed to get Tacker into the workshop for a bit. Well, he's not happy about it, but I need to go out shortly in the van. So, bits and pieces this week going on here. We've got some dining chairs coming in. I've got a antique lounge chair that needs to be started and got on with in the stall. And then I've got these Ercol chairs. There he goes. He's going to go sit by the door to try and get out. I don't know where he thinks he's going. I've got these Ercol chairs that need doing, and a customer dropping in some dining chairs later today. So let's have a quick look at what I'm on about. Right, we've got these Ercol chairs here. There's 4 pads. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th one's over there. And then we've got these upholstered back chairs. The backs there, they get inserted into the frame. See if I can stand up so you can see, like so, and then we have the seat on them. Now they're all being done in this lovely green leather for the customer. And a couple of smashing chairs. We've got to replace the foam if it needs replacing. I suspect it will do. It's been on there a good while. I'm saying a lot, but apologies about that. So resist the urge to say So anyway, I need to get on with them, so you can join me whilst I'm ripping them up, and we'll get them covered in that leather. I suspect I'm going to have to replace the foam in them though, so let's crack on. Okay, so these dining chairs are all stripped now, ready to go. This is the leather that's going on them. Lovely leather that is there. So that's going on these dining chairs. I need to cut the other pieces for the singles. The ones with the backs I will do later. I just want to get the singles done first and then move on to the backs, to try and conserve as much leather as I can, because it is expensive. So we'll need to do that. So let's spin you around and let's get these 4 seat pads cut. Okay, so I've made a template of mine for the top cover. So we're just going to cut round here. Trying not to waste any of the leather through time. So being relatively tight on cutting the leather. But still not that tight that it makes it impossible for me to do the job. So the second, third one, 4th one. We will get the 4th one out of this piece here. So looking at the back of the hide, I'm looking all the time for marks or signs that there's marks on the other side of the hide. I have checked the face side of the hide for imperfections, such as this one here, and we'll mark that. Yeah, I spotted this little spot, looks like a zit pot mark, and we don't want that in the top of the leather, so we'll try and cut round that. We've got plenty there if we cut round that. So it's a lovely. It will look great with the dark mahogany G-plan wood. So that's the 4 single seats done. Let's just mark and cut the 2 carver seats, or they're not carvers, they haven't got an arm on them, they've just got an upholstered back panel on them, but they are slightly bigger than the other ones. So let's lay the seat on again. We need about 3 inches all around it. So that one will come out of there. That one. One cut out. It's definitely not going to come out and there, not without making it very tight. Let's get it out of here. Right, so that's the leather cut for the 2 upholstered back chairs. So we'll put that out of the way. That leaves us this part here to do the 2 backs. It's going to be tight. The back's quite big and they need to be large clean pieces of hide. That's a little tight, but hopefully that'll be fine. So let's get these seats covered. Okay, so there they are. We need to Luxbond up the seats and then we'll put the leather on them. But first off, I need to start the compressor, and rather than you listening to that, I'll come back to you once the compressor's finished charging. Okay, so the compressor's charged up now, we can get on with these. So this is just a Luxbond, as the foam's okay on these really. So we just put in 8 ounces of Luxbond over these. I'm just going to put a few tacks in the Luxbond to hold it before I put the top cover on. Just pull the Luxbond in, staple it so close to the edge. So we want to trim it off, we don't want it to get in the way of the leather. So it's pretty much like any drop seat, loose seat, seat pads, whatever you want to call them. I did initially, when I first saw these seats, them being old G plans, they had felt in them, but it turns out it doesn't now, a foam seat, so it's fine. It's reusable. We'll just add a little bit of Luxbond to it, just to give it a bit of a freshen up before we put the leather on. So that's that. Okay, so there it is. Just going to give it a spray with silicone. Make sure that there's nothing on top of the Luxbond, because we don't want it to create any lumps or bumps underneath it, underneath the leather. Place the leather on, upside down. Right, even though this has got obviously no square corners on it, we treat it as if it's got 4 corners. I'm going to pull it at the 4 points. So we start at one point and then go to the opposite point diagonally and give that a pull in diagonally. Front. Opposite corner. The last corner you give it a good firm pull. That's the leather in position, held into position there, so now we can start filling it in. I'm just going to cut off some of the leather. So we've got our staples here. I'm just going to cut this piece of leather off so it doesn't create a bulk underneath the rest of the leather. Need to pull this lever tight so we don't have pleats, certainly on the back edge. So I start in the centre, front, easing it in with my hand. A few staples along there. I'm going to do the back edge now before I get too carried away. Again, put it nice and tight over the back edge. Now we're going to go to the edge, pulling the lever out to the corners, or whatever would be corners, putting a pleat in it that is underneath the seat so it's not seen from the top. Okay, same with the other side. And filling the staples up in the centre and these staples at the edge. Now I'm going to do the same process with the back edge and the side edge, hopefully, so we don't have any pleats visible over the sides, certainly not onto the top edge. Takes a little bit of effort to do it. I'm easing it with the palm of my hand over. Nice leather. It's not the most supplest leather I've used. For want of a better way of describing it, it's just about right for this. There's a little bit of stretch in it, but not too supple that it makes it difficult to work with because the staples firing through it. When it gets things like lambskin and more exotic hides, they become very soft, but they won't hold a staple. So this leather's from Crest, I believe. I can tell you exactly. Yes, it's Crest Shelley Mountain Tree. So there you go. A UK-based company, I believe. pushing it, but the pleats are underneath the seat. I'll show you in a minute when I've done the last one. So these are just, once again, these are just the 4 seat pads only, not the upholstered back pads. I don't think they were part of a set, to be honest. I think they're 2 different sets because looking at the way they're manufactured, I believe that the upholstered back chairs are a more modern chair than these 4. So there you go. So you can see here the corners, we've got little pleats in them, but the pleats aren't transferred to the top edge. So it's about getting the hide positioned square and pulling opposites to each other and pulling lever. So that's the first one done. I'll put the bottom cloths on them together. So I'll get back to you when I've done them, and we should be moving on with the 2 dining chairs. Certainly I'll do the seat pads first on them and leave the backs until later because I've got to template them, cut and sew the backs up. You'll see. Keep watching. Right, so that's all the seats covered. This is the last bottom cloth that needs to go on. So let's get that on. Bottom cloth roughly cut to size to start with. Lay it into position. I'm starting with the front edge. Fold the cloth back. 1, 2, 3, 4 staples. I'm using black staples here just so they're less visible on the bottom cloth. Fold the back edge over, making sure that we're covering all the staples but not going right to the edge. So now I'm just going to trim the excess off the side. A bit off there. There, right. Centre the side. Smooth it out with my hands. Put it in the centre. 1, 2, 3 staples there. Opposite side. Same again. Fold it over. Cover the staples that are attaching the lever. 1, 2, 3. Then back edge, just fold everything under. Try and keep it a uniform distance from the edge, and spacing on the staples uniform. It's small things that make a big difference, details. Same with the other side. If it looks like there's care been taken in putting the bottom cloth on, I think gives the impression that there's care taken with the rest of the job as well. If I was certainly to see loose seats that the staples are all over the place and uneven, etc., that would shout to me that the rest of it's not very well done. So there we have it, bottom cloth on, quick and simple as that. So that's the seats done. Let's put this out of the way so don't get damaged. Now we have the 2 backs. I need to cut the fabrics for these, but I'll just show you the backs. Here's the original, it's inside out. So I'm going to unpick this. I've marked the front and back, transfer that to the leather, and hopefully, fingers crossed, there's enough of this hide to do these two backs. I think it's going to be tight though. We will be cutting into the other hide, unfortunately. But there you go. The blanket's on the table because this leather does mark easily. It's got a lovely finish on it, but moving it around on this MDF table, albeit it's relatively smooth, but even dust and so on theoretically could affect the finish on this leather, so we don't want to be doing that. So I'll unpick this, transfer it to the hide, and get the back sewn up is the next job. So let's get on with that. Okay, so that's this back unpicked, and looking at it, it looks as if the inside back and the outside back are exactly the same size. So we'll just use one of them as a template. So this line here that I've marked in the red, you can see here, that's where I stop or start the stitching. So I don't stitch any further around than that. I've marked it on the back as well, so just so I can see it better as well. So let's see where we can get this cut out of our leather. As always, I just check the leather again to see if there's any marks I need to be aware of. I've already checked the hide before I cut the seats, but you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah. And there's no additional marks that may have been created on that hide, so looking good. So I've got to get 4 panels out of this. There we go. Right, this piece looks like it's just going to be wide enough here. Certainly if I put it this way round, change the orientation of it. So this is folded over on the stitching, so I need to add the allowance on this. The leather will have theoretically some stretch in it, but I've added a little bit of extra stuffing onto the backs, so we will allow for that. So I'm just going to give just 1 centimetre or so from a stitch line. Mark where my stitching needs to finish. Also, putting a ruler along it allows me to see if they've manufactured or cut a curve into this at all. There is a curve once it gets past that stitch line, so that's not really going to be relevant, but I'll mark the stitch line and then we'll mark the top edge. I'm fairly confident this is going to be fine, so I will cut the 4 out. I will mirror the pattern just to make sure everything is square. Let's give ourselves plenty at the bottom, so let's go to 40 centimetres, mark the halfway, so I can mark the top as well. 20. Just check the length, 68.5. 68.5. Yeah, it is the same. It just looks slightly different. It's 12.5 inches. 6.25. So that's top. Oh, that through there. So we need to get 4 of these out of this piece of hide. 1, 2. I think we're going to struggle, unfortunately. I can't really make it much shorter. I could possibly lose an inch off of my sample. Yeah, I think we are going to have to cut into the second hide. That's not halfway. Check, measure that again from there to there. Yeah, my mark was slightly off. Now it matches. It's more to make sure that I get the curve on the top mirrored on both sides. Right, there's one. Now we've got to try and get 3 more. 1, 2, we'll get 2 possibly out of here. Getting the 3rd one, may get it out, but I have to do it at an angle. So let's do these 2 here. Use as much as the hide as we can, but avoiding any stretch marks or neck, etc. But this isn't the neck part of the hide. So when I sew these up, I'm just going to take no more than 1 centimetre allowance on my stitching, because we do want to be able to get these on. We want them to be tight enough that they're not loose, but I do need to be able to get them onto the piece of furniture. So and I'll orientate it that way. That gives me more room at this end. I'll again take that down as far as I can. The proof is in the eating, so to speak. I'm confident in what I'm doing here. If you're a little bit less confident about the fitment, I would suggest you do one, sew it up, fit it, and then you can be certain that the others are going to be fine. Marking where to stop and start my stitching. 2, 1 to go. It's a shame I haven't got the chairs here to show you the completed chairs. I think they will look very nice when they're done. Right, there we go. We've got plenty of room now to get the 4th one out of. One, 2, 3, 4. Let's get them sewn up and come back to you once they're sewn up and we start fitting the backs. There's only 2 of them to do though, so they shouldn't take long. Should have these done today. Fingers crossed. Okay, I've just fitted one. Relatively happy with it. It fits nice on the sides, so I think that's great, the width. But just at the top here, we've got this little bit of an Ercol effect going here. So I think there was a little bit of a taper just on the end needed on these because I've cut them with a straight edge, and like I said to you, I think it just needed a bit of a curve on here. It's not a problem. I can just stitch in slightly further to create this curve here on the next one, and that one should be fine, and then we'll come back to this one and alter it. So let's just pop that one there. Get the other back. Give it a good spray with some silicone. Make sure there's no bits on there that we don't want in the way. And I'll sew this one up, bearing in mind what I've just said about a bit of a taper on the top edge to get rid of those ear rolls, and we should be better on the second one, and then I can just slide the other one off, alter that, and we should be good to go. So I'll come back to you once I've done this one and we can try fitting it together, and hopefully it resolves that issue. Okay, so that's that sewn up with a little bit more of a taper. It's not a lot, but hopefully it's just enough to make those ear rolls a little bit less prominent. So let's turn this inside out. Leather tends to stretch in weird ways. Different parts of the skin will stretch differently. But I think that's just literally the fact that there was a taper that I didn't quite see on the original cover. Good spray there. We'll start easing this in. We've got to want to just do it once, so I've got to make sure that the stitch line stays on the side, that the leather doesn't end up twisted around, because taking this on and off is not going to do it any favours. A bit hard for me to do up here, so I've got a little box down here I can do it on. You should be able to still see what I'm doing. Just gently easing it down, checking one side at a time because it is snug fit. Getting to the top, so it should have that little bit of taper now. I should have eliminated some of that Ercol along the top edge. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay. So they give it a good firm pull down. There we go. So should be able to see there. That little alteration has virtually eliminated this Ercol here on each corner. So I'm happy with that. So I'll take the other one off, get that altered, close stitching up at the bottom here. That's the back's done once I've put the screws in the side. I'm not 100% convinced about putting the screws in the side because I need to try and get them through but without breaking the stitching on the side. I think I might, excuse me, put a staple on either side of the screw because I'm presuming it's not going to be seen, and that should stop the stitching from coming apart. But I'll come back to you when they're done and you should be able to see the finished backs. Unfortunately I don't have the chairs here to show you the finished item. There you have it, both inside backs done with the screws on now. I don't know if you can see there, I was just able to puncture the screws through either side of the stitching. Did not want to break that stitching, but there you go, done. So that's the two backs, two seats that go with these backs are here. There you go. They go with those backs, so they're ready to go on, and the four other seats. So done in this lovely Crest Shelley mountain tree hide. Good to go. I think they're going to look lovely with the mahogany frames. I'll try and get the customer to send a picture through to me of the backs and seats installed, finished items. If I can, I'll tag them on to the end of this video. So next I'm on with some more dining chairs. Bear with me. We have two dining chairs, high back, generic dining chairs. I feel like they've got a sprung seat. Hopefully it's sprung seat rather than webbing. Let's have a look. Actually, why not? Yes, sprung seat. So these are half decent quality chairs, certainly worth recovering. and then just 4 loose seat pads that go with those chairs. So I'll be getting on with them next. You've seen me doing them before, so what I think I'll do here is we'll leave this video as it is with these leather seats this week. As always, not necessarily meant to be instructional. Different upholsterers have their different ways of doing things. It just shows you what we do here at Hammond's Upholstery, and I should change that to what I do here at Hammond's Upholstery. I think this looks smashing. The customer's going to be very happy. Hope you've enjoyed this little look into what goes on in the workshop. Takker's taking himself back off into the van, so he's in his happy place. I've got to go and do a delivery now, so I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe, and we'll keep the content coming. We'll see you in the next one. Cheerio for now.